67 degrees. Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. As we put week 1 to bed, Steve Levy, Brian Griese, Louis Riddick, Diana Rossini, and year 2 under Chucky for the Raiders.
What a great place to finish off this week 1 of the NFL season. We started with a great rivalry, Bears-Packers, and we're going to end with a great rivalry. And Vic Fangio, welcome to the Broncos-Raiders on Monday night.
Absolutely. Look, it doesn't get any better than this. This crowd is amped up. They're a little angry tonight. They have a point to prove. Let's see if they can get it done here on the field.
Going to have some fun tonight, and the Raiders will get the football first. And Dwayne Harris is going to run it out of the end zone. Harris beyond the 25, out to the 29-yard line. And that's where Derek Carr will start after a return of 29 yards for the Oakland Raiders and this offense. An offense and a quarterback that John Gruden said is going to hold him to a standard that he can be one of the best. A critical season for him.
Yeah, the second year in this system with John Gruden, you expect Derek Carr to take a jump. It's been an emotional 6 months. He was the one that brought Antonio Brown into his home, welcomed him on this team, and now he's got to put that aside and find playmakers tonight.
That's the tight end, Darren Waller, in motion. And on first down, the handoff to Josh Jacobs. Welcome to the NFL, Josh Jacobs. It's a gain of 3 on the play. 24th pick overall, the first-round pick out of Alabama. As you look at the offensive line, it is an excellent offensive line led by the big fella Trent Brown.
Everybody talked about Antonio Brown, Lewis, but Trent Brown might be as important an addition in the offseason.
No question. You see how they tried to establish the run right off the bat. Which way did they go? They went to the right side, and that's because Trent Brown is a man. He's going to be somebody to watch all night long.
Last game he played was as the left tackle for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Here's Jacobs again, pounding forward for a couple, and he'll bring up a third down. Bradley Chubb, his first tackle of the game. Get used to that. Look at the Denver defense, and this is not the issue for the Broncos, Lewis. They are stacked on defense.
Absolutely, and it all begins and ends really with those 2 outside pass rushers, Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. Brad has already made his mark on this football game. This is really where they make their money here, on these obvious passing downs.
They were going to look at Hunter Renfrow. Great on third down at college at Clemson, the national champions. He's in the game on 3rd and 4 on the infield dirt of the A's. Here's Carr. Good protection. Out and able to complete to Ryan Grant, and they're going to give him the forward progress for the first down, gain of 5.
Nice conversion, the first third down of the game. You get a 3rd and 5, and you get the protection orchestrated. They bring a little pressure, and a nice job by Ryan Grant. Derek Carr in this game is going to have to find playmakers, and 2 guys to keep an eye on. Tyrell Williams, the brought over from the San Diego Chargers, and Darren Waller, number 83, the tight end. Both of those guys have to step up in the absence of Antonio Brown. 2
tight ends in here for Oakland. It's Waller and Foster Moreau, the rookie out of LSU. Here's Carr to throw on first down across the middle. It's Ryan Grant, very close to the marker. Bring up a second down and short.
I think one of the things that you see right away is Derek Carr trying to play in rhythm and get the ball out of his hands quickly. He wants to negate some of this pass rush that people are worried about with Chubb and Von Miller by just being very rhythmic, being very, very on time with delivering the football, and you can see it. He's trying to establish that right away.
Second and short, approaching midfield. An opportunity to take a shot. Instead, the handoff to Josh Jacobs. He's got first down yardage, and they push the pile. Gain of 5 on the play, down to the 46 of Denver. Jacobs played just 1 series in the preseason, as is the trend around the NFL.
You know, John Gruden, everybody wants to talk about his passing game and open throwing the ball, but he loves a bell cow back. He had Cadillac Williams as a rookie in Tampa Bay, gave him over 300 touches his rookie season. He sees the same kind of talent in Josh Jacobs. Won't be surprised if he gets 20 to 25 touches in this one.
First down and 10. That's Waller, bottom of your screen. Carr looking left and throwing, and there he is, Darren Waller. And he's got first down. And the Raiders putting together an impressive drive here to start. Gain of 11 on the play.
As you see by formation where they put Darren Waller there, they were trying to iso him on the corner, one-on-one out here on the perimeter, because it's just a size disadvantage. And quite honestly, he has the speed of a wide receiver, so he can do whatever he wants to out here. Just a little quick hitch route. And then after that, Look, he's an all-day affair as far as trying to get him on the ground. So that's a beautiful, beautiful play design by John Gruden right there.
That's Hunter Renfrow in motion, top of your screen.
Back-to-back first downs that John Gruden has decided to throw the football. That's opening up the run game.
Looked like a jump. Might have been Denzel Good, that right guard. Craig Wolstad is our referee tonight.
False start, offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Good in place of Gabe Jackson. He's going to be out for a little bit. First and 15 after the penalty. Denver 41.
Got that same look with Waller split out on Isaac Yiadom.
Two to snap it, guys, and they just get it away. Carr lofts one, air underneath for Waller, and he goes up and makes the grab. Able to beat Isaac Yiadom on the play for a gain of 26.
Back-to-back times, John Gruden has identified this matchup. Extend Darren Waller at 6'5", 260 pounds on Isaac Yiadom. This is an advantage for the Raiders all night.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is he has wide receiver type speed. He's a sub 4.5 type of guy. Quickly, by formation and by personnel deployment, you can tell what the Raiders are trying to exploit here. This is something you're going to have to watch for all night.
All right, Joe Tess, thanks very much. We'll have what they had, huh? Give me some of that. Welcome to the Coliseum, the final Monday night game ever. And the Raiders have marched down the field at the Denver 10.5-yard line on a 2nd and 4. On the ground, Josh Jacobs thought about cutting it outside and stayed inside. It's a gain of 2. Von Miller makes the stop. An impressive opening drive here for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, hot start for Derek Carr. Back-to-back targets at his new tight end, Darren Waller. One short and one down the field, and all of a sudden now they get a big 3rd down and 3 in the red zone.
10th play of this drive upcoming.
And why not go back to Waller? He's in motion there, 83 at the top.
Not adjusting. Oh, there we go.
Here's Carr. Broncos rush 4. Some pressure, zips it in there, and it's caught. It's Tyrell Williams. And the Raiders strike first.
Big-time opening drive from Derek Carr. Take a look at Tyrell Williams. When he goes to throw that football, that is perfectly thrown. Can't throw it out there any better. Right behind the linebacker. Big-time conversion.
Yeah, you've got to squeeze down on your coverage down here in the red zone and on the goal line. You get caught behind a receiver like this, he's just going to box you out like a basketball player, and that's what happened to Simmons on that play. It's just pitch and catch for Derek right there.
Ten play, 72-yard drive. Daniel Carlson on the way. And for all the people asking the questions, how would the Raiders offense do without Antonio Brown? So far, so good. The Raiders strike first. The final game of week 1 of the NFL off to a hot start. With Louis Riddick and Brian Greasy here in Oakland, I'm Steve Levy. That was the question. You guys have been on every talk show in America. How are the Raiders going to respond without Antonio Brown? Well, just perfect.
No AB, no problem, right? They went right down the field. They ran the ball with Josh Jacobs. They got the ball to Darren Waller, and they finished in the red zone with a touchdown.
Look, this is a football team that doesn't really know what it would be like to have AB on the team anyway, because he was never around. Right. And this is they're playing like a team that right now they're trying to establish their own identity. And by the looks of it, they're off to a pretty good start.
And they marched down the field against what we expect to be a mighty top 10 defense in the NFL, the Broncos. Touchback. Joe Flacco. And the Denver Broncos offense will come out and start at the 25-yard line. What a start. Joe Flacco. Joe Cool. Not going to apologize. He's fought that image forever. And when John Elway says everything resides squarely on Flacco's shoulders, there's the heat. But he can handle it.
There has to be a fire in the belly of Joe Flacco. 11-year veteran of Super Bowl MVP. Lost his job to Lamar Jackson a year ago in Baltimore. He's out to prove, and he's still got something left in the tank.
On the ground. Give it to Noah Fant, the tight end. Nothing doing. The Raiders sniff it out with Josh Morrow.
But Josh Morrow is one of those guys that they signed. Why? Because of his play against the run, and he's just fundamentally sound. Great eyes as far as seeing the ball carrier coming back across the formation. He stays at home. You see him, they look at the path he takes. It's perfect. That's exactly how you want to establish the tone on defense.
How about that for the first play for the Denver Broncos? They don't hand the ball to a halfback, Philip Lindsay. They hand it to the rookie tight end, Noah Fant.
That's interesting. That's interesting to say the least.
Rich Scangarello, first-time offensive coordinator. How do you do? It's Flacco to throw. Little middle screen for about a yard there. Jonathan Hankins made the stop on Philip Lindsay. And it's going to be a third down and long.
Joe Flacco has some new weapons here in Denver. Emmanuel Sanders back healthy off of that Achilles from a year ago. He's got some help up front on the offensive line. Dalton Risner, the left guard, the rookie, has been a standout so far in camp. An excellent pickup for John Elway. And the year two of Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman, that 1-2 punch was deadly a year ago. We'll see if they can be effective this year.
Watch for Lindsay out of the backfield. Flacco feels some heat. It is Lindsay on the dirt infield. And he'll get about to the 30-yard line. Gain of 10, but the loss on first down was a killer.
Absolutely. Look, when you're working from behind the sticks like that, it just makes it tough for you to convert in those kind of situations. And with the improved speed on the defensive side of the Raiders, those are the kind of things that right now work to your advantage. Get it behind the sticks, play some soft zone, see the throw, and then rally and tackle. And that's exactly what they did. They're getting off the field, giving Derek Carr another shot at it.
Disturbing trend here. The Broncos punted 13 times on their opening possession last season. That's the most in the NFL. Some pressure on Colby Wadman. And Dwayne Harris runs it down like an outfielder. He stays in bounds and out to the 13-yard line.
Big time punt there.
Tim Patrick, the special team stop. It is a 59-yard punt by Wadman. Raiders are backed up but leading. ESPN's Monday Night Football, brought to you by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. October 19, 1970, the Raiders made their Monday Night Football debut. Hewitt Dixon, 164 yards rushing. The man bomber, Darryl LaMonica, with 3 touchdowns. The Raiders' 34-20 win over the Redskins. On the ground, Josh Jacobs. We're just joining us, second possession for the Raiders. Diana Rossini picked an excellent time to be in Oakland.
Steve, an energy vampire. That's how one coach described Antonio Brown's time with this Oakland Raiders team. They believe that he took away the celebration of Monday Night Football here at the Coliseum. I was able to speak to Raiders owner Mark Davis, and he said, right now it's all about looking forward. I said, what would your father have done in this situation? He smirked. He said, my father would just try to figure out a way to win. Steve?
Diana, thank you. Right, just win, baby.
We know what Al Davis liked. He liked guys that were fast, and he wanted to bomb it down the field like Darryl LaMonica. He would have loved AB, but he would not have loved the way that AB approached his time here in Oakland.
Raiders have always been known for that vertical passing game. Wasn't all that vertical, but Derek Carr's 5 for 5 to open up this football game.
Could not have started this better for the Raiders.
Carr to throw again. Underneath and complete to Darren Waller. Already the third reception for the third-year tight end out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, you see the tight formations. Darren Waller with a minus split. You know he's going to run across the field. You gotta play for it. And if you're the corner here in Isaac Yadam, you have to be able to be on his hip so you can slice underneath that route and make a play on it. The formation had to tell you where he was going right there. They telegraphed it. He just wasn't in good position.
Yeah, Lewis, the Broncos have to change up the matchup. They've got Isaac Yadam on Waller 3 times. He's been beat. If it's me, I'm going to put Justin Simmons, the safety, on him with a little bit more size.
Set. Blue 80. Set.
Off the play fake. Carr, middle of the field. Complete. It's Tyrell Williams. Yadam came up to make the stop, but not until it was a 15-yard gain.
Great play action in the pocket. Nice protection. Vic Fangio doesn't normally play man-to-man coverage, but when you play man, look at this window to throw that football. That is too open for Derek Carr. That's an easy completion.
Look, the name has changed, but the guy who they're targeting, Isaac Yadam, is obviously someone that they figure they can get some throws on here. And he's going to be somebody who's going to be in for a long night if they don't figure this out.
Go Bryce Callahan for that Denver defense. Josh Jacobs on the run. There is a flag down. Our first marker of the game. 2 significant injuries for Denver tonight. No Todd Davis.
Holding
in the middle.
Offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
So no Todd Davis and no Bryce Callahan. And you're seeing the impact of that early on.
Vic Fangio, he waited 32 years for this opportunity. First-time head coach at 61 years old. And, there's only 2 defensive head coaches that got jobs this year. He was one of them. And there's no question he is one of the top defensive minds in football. I put him right there with Bill Belichick, and he'll figure this out. He's got to find who is John Gruden going to match up instead of Antonio Brown, and I have to take him away.
Josh Jacobs is split out all the way. But Carr isn't looking that way. It's batted down at the line of scrimmage, and Bradley Chubb got the hands up to knock it down. And that's the first incompletion for Derek Carr.
You got to block Bradley Chubb. I mean, you can't just let him out there on the edge. You try to cut him, that's not good enough. He's too good of an athlete, and Derek Carr is very fortunate he didn't bat that, catch it, and score. Lewis, I know you love double nickels. He's going to have a heck of a year opposite of Von Miller.
But this is the down and distance that these guys live for. You got him behind the sticks. You got him at 2nd and 20. Now you put him in a box. Let's see if they can turn it loose on him.
Raiders go 4 wide. Here's Carr trying to set it up underneath. That's Dwayne Harris. Tripped up at about the 38 by Von Miller. Gain of 7 on the play. They get a chunk back, but still 3rd and long.
That's tremendous play recognition by Von Miller. Look, he's not just a pass rusher. This is a guy who takes tremendous pride in overall offensive play recognition. Stop his rush right there, turn, sprint down the field, and make the tackle. Now still have him in a 3rd and unfavorable down and distance for the offense.
Lewis, I thought it was amazing what Vic Fangio, one of the first things he did in coming to Denver was challenge Von Miller. He said he can be better. We can help him be better. And that's a perfect example of recognizing that formation play.
Carr underneath. And for the first time, the Raiders will not be able to convert on 3rd down. Josie Jewell came up to make the stop on Foster Morrow. It's a gain of 9 to bring up a 4th down. Well, that's the old idea, right? That's coaching 101. You're the new guy, you come to a new town, like in the schoolyard. You got to take on the biggest guy, right?
Yeah,
And so he went after Von.
Right.
And Von had sort of agreed, hey, I can play better.
Listen, Vic Fangio has coached some of the greatest linebackers in the history of the game, and I think Von Miller respected him from day one.
A.J. Cole booming it into the end zone. Goes a 52-yard punt. See that Broncos offense when we come back. Hey, next Monday night, Joe Tess, Booger, Lisa, and the Monday night crew will be in New Jersey. Baker Mayfield and the Browns take on Sam Darnold and the Jets. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6, followed by the game at 8:15 Eastern. Who had those guys both losing on opening day?
Give credit to the Titans, man. They went in there and they beat them fair and square.
Beat them up, too. on the money. Cortland Sutton from Joe Flacco. And a late flag comes in as Sutton is across midfield. It's a gain of 37.
What a big-time throw and catch there from Joe Flacco, standing in the pocket, anticipating where Cortland Sutton is going to be on that route. Great timing. Clearly, they're on the same page despite not playing a whole lot in the preseason.
After the catch and during the run, illegal block in the back. Offense, number 87. As a 10-yard penalty, still be first down.
That's the rookie Noah Fant.
And you can see pre-snap by the way they lined up that they knew they had zone. They knew they had a good matchup there with Cortland Sutton on the linebacker. This is good scheming by Rich Scangarello here in order to get him one-on-one on Markel Lee. I mean, that's a matchup that they're going to want to exploit all day if they can get that kind of thing.
No question. They got to get Joe Flacco into a rhythm, and Cortland Sutton has to be a playmaker and a change maker, opposite of Emmanuel Sanders for this Denver offense to grow from a season ago.
Trent Sutton with a 30-yard catch, but 10 yards on the penalty. Lindsey is stopped by Vontaze Burfict, arguably the most significant pickup in the offseason.
No question about it. He's the guy who's going to solidify everything for them in the middle. Look, their run defense is really what they wanted to focus on, even before you got to the pass rush. Because last year, they had the fewest number of rush attempts on third down as far as trying to get after the passer. Why? Because they couldn't do their work on first and second down. And Vontaze Burfict, he's showing you why he was signed here.
Inside handoff, Royce Freeman's first carry of the game. And he's out to the 44, stopped by Arden Key. And I think you can make the argument if Paul Gunther wasn't already here, Burfict probably is not here from Cincinnati.
You know, I think there's this perception of Vontaze Burfict based off of all the fines they got at Cincinnati. People think he's a dirty player. You know, spending some time around this Raiders team in training camp, he has come in and become a leader on this defense from day one. He's the smartest player any of these guys have ever played around, and he's overcoming some of those conceptions of him from the Bengals.
Raiders bring some pressure. Zipped in across the middle. It's Cortland Sutton again. He's in Oakland territory, down to the 40-yard line of the Raiders, and no flag this time. It's a gain of 18.
You come on the road in a hostile environment, you're going to have to make some tight window throws. Look at this timing right here from Joe Flacco. That is as good as you can do it, understanding exactly where your receiver is going to be, Lewis.
Look, ball was out of his hand before Cortland was even looking for it. He took a reduced split, beat Gary Conley inside with his release off the line of scrimmage. And when you look at Cortland Sutton up close, this guy is as good-looking an athlete as you are going to see regardless of position in the NFL. And they're taking advantage of some of these matchups right now.
1 quarter complete. The final Monday Night Football game in Oakland. Home team by 7. Ryan Greasy, Louis Riddick, Diana Rossini, Steve Levy. Monday Night Football. Can you get any more accurate than these two throwers tonight?
They got something to prove, and why not? No AB, and this guy getting cut or getting released a year ago.
There's Royce Freeman down to the 36-yard line. It's a gain of 2 on the play. Don't get used to the dirt. We've mentioned it a few times already. This is it. Last season in Oakland, this will be the last dirt baseball infield you will see in an NFL game.
Thank goodness.
This has been the sole survivor around the NFL. Actually, some of the Bronco players, Bradley Chubb said, he's never played on dirt like this before.
Yeah, and they're going to have to get used to it. The footing is tough. You got those cleats on, and they don't go down in the dirt because it's hard.
Pressure from Oakland. They're going to get home and sack Flacco. There is a flag on the play. As Flacco was swallowed up.
Illegal contact. Defense number 24. It's a 5-yard penalty. An automatic first down.
And that won't be the last flag that Jonathan Abram draws. The hard-hitting rookie out of Mississippi State.
See him here. He's lined up on Jeff Hireman. Illegal contact downfield. I don't see a penalty.
Wow.
There,
Look, he's just trying to play aggressive man-to-man coverage, and that's really what contributed to the sack. Joe had nowhere to go with the football because they were playing aggressive, tight man-to-man coverage, giving the time for the rush to do their job.
Jim Diapolis in the booth with us. He had the same expression as John Gruden did. On the ground, some hard running from Philip Lindsay, and another penalty marker comes in.
Jonathan Abram again involved in that play, the rookie from Mississippi State.
Holding. Offense, number 65. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
That's Ron Leary.
Not a good start for this offensive line. The holding call brings it back, and now Juwan James, the right tackle, who they just signed this offseason out of Miami, as you see the hold from Leary. But Juwan James is down on the field. Not a lot of depth on that Broncos offensive line.
That has been a problem position for Denver. They thought they had solved it with James.
Here's Juwan James, and this drive looks like he gets kicked. His left knee right there. Elijah Wilkinson in at right tackle for the Broncos.
And so that was 2 plays ago. He tried to gut it out and stay in there, and could not. Here's Philip Lindsay on the ground on 1st and 20. Give him a couple. Arden Key able to trip it up. Juwan James has been so important, you would think, for the Broncos. Got him from Miami, one of their big offseason's acquisitions. First of a 4-year, $51 million deal. Was the highest paid tackle until the Raiders ponied up for Trent Brown.
It's been a revolving door at right tackle for the Broncos. They thought they had solved it with Juwan James, but Elijah Wilkinson, they love this kid. He is tough, physical, and tackle is his natural position.
See who jumps. See if Fant might have moved.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Familiar scowl.
You've seen that look before.
That's a good call. Cleveland Furl, the rookie, number 4 overall draft pick, jumps in the neutral zone, and Bowles jumps offside.
Flacco, some backside pressure over the head of Cortland Sutton. And they bring up a 3rd and long.
There's a misread there from Joe Flacco, not on the same page with Cortland Sutton. That was very clearly too deep. You got 2 players out here playing over the top, and to throw a fade out there is almost impossible. Joe Flacco needs to see the field a little bit better and come back to the weak side.
Well, Paul Gunther has a lot in his arsenal as far as these double A gap looks that he's showing right now, and then bringing LaMarcus Joyner off the slot. He can run various different coverage schemes that are confusing even to a veteran quarterback like Joe Flacco, and obviously they confused him there.
Broncos are in field goal range.
Juwan James gets hurt, goes out of the game, and Elijah Wilkinson replaces him, and he just gets beat by Mayowa to the inside. You get a sack. Mayowa, great job, but you forced the fumble, too, on top of it. He's really happy about that rush.
But these are the kinds of things that you wanted to see out of the Raiders, right? You wanted to see them get people in 3rd and long, and then see if all the work they did this offseason as far as injecting youth and speed into this defense was going to pay off. And so far, so good.
Here's Colby Wadman, had a 59-yard punt the last time. And that's a fair catch by Dwayne Harris at the 10, and a flag comes in really late. And we are not surprised to see this between the Broncos and the Raiders.
Vontez Burfict being the peacemaker. I like it. Leadership.
That's not the first time he's tried to be the peacemaker. He tried to be the peacemaker between Mike Mayock and Antonio Brown as well.
I'll tell you, that's one of the things that...
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 56. That penalty is half position to the goal. First down.
That's one of the things I was most pleasantly surprised by is when we talked to the players on this football team, and you asked them about Vontaze Burfict, they said, we don't know what he was like before, but we love him here.
Carr's been red hot. He's backed up deep in his own territory when we come back. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by the Alliance for Lifetime Income. Learn more at retireyourrisk.org. Welcome you back to the black hole here in Oakland. And the Raiders are all the way backed up. Had a brilliant scoring drive to open the game. And no points since for either squad. First down and 10 from the 5. We'll see who jumped this time.
That's the left guard, Jordan Devy.
False start. Offense, number 65. Penalties half the distance to goal. Still first down.
Devy is playing the left guard spot in place of Richie Incognito, who is suspended for the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, not only do they not have Incognito on the left side, but on the right side, John Gruden does not have Gabe Jackson, who was his best offensive lineman from a year ago. He's suffered a sprained MCL in training camp and will miss a couple of weeks.
So half the distance to the goal. Back at about the 2.5. And another flag. And that time looked like it might have been Trent Brown.
And if that man moves, nobody's going to miss it.
You can't hide that one.
Offense, number 77. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
And the Gruden expression is priceless. I'm sorry.
Well, at 6'8", 380 pounds, you're just not going to miss Trent Brown. I think this was a key acquisition in the offseason for the Raiders to shore up that right tackle spot. They were awful at tackle a year ago.
The Raiders are going the wrong way. On the ground, and Josh Jacobs, a little breathing room out to the 7-yard line. Brown is the guy who signed the 4-year, $66 million deal, the richest deal for a tackle in history, who played left tackle for every game for the Super Bowl champion Patriots a year ago, and now flipped to the right side.
Yeah, really, whether you play right tackle or left tackle, it really doesn't matter in the NFL anymore, because look at where Von Miller is lining up. He's lining up on the defensive left, offensive right, so you better have a guy out there on the right side who can pass protect like Trent Brown.
Says a non-quarterback. I want somebody on my blind side protecting me, Lewis.
Yeah, Von Miller hit you right in the face, though, so you better have him on both sides.
See him.
Carr quick out to the tight end, Darren Waller, and that's what was so effective on that opening drive that led to the touchdown. Kareem Jackson made the stop for Denver after the gain of 6.
Darren Waller is going to be a main focal point in this offense. He's only caught 18 balls coming into this season, and so nobody really knows anything about this guy, but in camp, he has been outstanding. John Gruden will feature him tonight.
Yeah, these hybrid, multi-positional tight ends that you can keep in the core, flex out one-on-one if you get the favorable matchups. That's what all personnel departments are after, and John may have hit on one here that everyone else maybe had given up on in Darren Waller.
Monday, set. We're good, we're good. Set.
On the ground, Jacobs, first down yardage and then some. And this Raider crowd really gets it right. Super loud when the Broncos are on offense. That was 3rd and 1 for the home team, and the place got quiet.
But that's just tremendous job of capturing the line of scrimmage and getting pushed at the line of scrimmage, and then Josh Jacobs just doing what he does best, just reading it out, keeping his pads low, and then driving after contact. But this is right now, these are the kind of drives that can really change the tone of this football game even more in favor of the Raiders if they can string together a couple of plays, a couple of first downs, and maybe punch one in here.
Jacobs tripped up in the backfield. Adam Gotsis got him for a loss of 1 on the play.
Everybody wants to talk about the outside pass rushers for the Denver Broncos, and rightfully so, but this interior front of Gotsis, Shelby Harris, and Derek Wolfe, those are the meat and potatoes. Those are the guys that hold the line of scrimmage, and DeMarcus Walker will spell those guys. Mike Purcell, they have 5 interior defensive linemen Vic Fangio can rotate inside in this 3-4 defense.
2nd and 12. Good protection. Carr slings it. Foster Morrow trying to lean forward. It won't get to the line. Reed made sure of that.
Tremendous protection for Derek Carr, tremendous poise in the pocket. That's something that people really tried to get on him for, as someone who gets skittish in the pocket. But when he has time, this is a guy who is as intelligent as there is in the NFL at the position, and he can distribute the football. And this is tremendous, tremendous competitive effort here by Foster Moreau as far as fighting for every bit that he can as far as yards after the catch.
You know what that was? That's just discipline there from Derek Carr. You could try to push the ball down the field in a long yardage situation, but you have the discipline to dump it down and keep yourself in a manageable 3rd and 1 situation.
Seals is it.
Won't give it to Jacobs this time. Carr will take a shot. Tyrell Williams running underneath it. He's got it. Beats Yadam for 43. And the Raiders have the Broncos defense guessing.
3rd and short situations. John Gruden loves it when you bring everybody up, because that leaves them one-on-one on the outside with Tyrell Williams. He's their best receiver. And no, he's not as fast as Antonio Brown, but he's plenty fast enough.
But Tyrell Williams has been doing this to the AFC West for a long time. And Isaac Yadam right now doesn't really know what to do with Tyrell. He's got him on his heels. He's got him second-guessing his own technique. He's kind of playing in no man's land. He's not taking away anything, and they're taking everything from Yadam so far tonight.
That play clock was winding down. The Raiders will spend a timeout.
Great example of John Gruden knowing he may not have the most explosive players, right? He wanted to have Antonio Brown, but he knows situational football. He knows in a 3rd and short situation, it's an opportunity for a favorable matchup. Why not take the shot?
Diana Rossini on the sideline.
Steve, I spoke to coaches with the Chargers where Tyrell Williams spent a few seasons, and I said, what can we expect from him? He goes, you know what you can expect? The anti-AB. This guy is the most coachable player. The Chargers wanted to keep him, but the price was too high for him. But he's obviously already making an impact on this Raiders offense.
His dad was a huge Raiders fan growing up right here in the East Bay. He's got to be exciting for Tyrell and his family. And he becomes the #1 target with no AB. On the ground, Jacobs spin forward for a couple. 7.5 to play here in the first half. Again, the Raiders scored on their opening drive, launched right down the field, and no points since.
I think Vic Fangio's going to have to make some adjustments defensively. I know he's had Isaac Yadam in there. 7 of the completions that Derek Carr has already in this game have been targeted at Isaac Yadam. They've got some other players over there, Devontae Bosby, certainly that are capable corners.
Carr to throw. Finds his man Waller. Going to be short of the marker.
This is how you neutralize that pass rush, right? You got Von Miller, you got Bradley Chubb. Throw the ball on 1st down, control the game, control the sticks with the short passing game, and that's exactly what Oakland's doing.
But Derek Carr said he's playing in the ideal offense for him now. Here in his 2nd year with John Gruden, he said he has everything at his disposal. He's the guy who's at the controls. He knows exactly how John wants him to run this offense. And on this drive, he's putting on a clinic.
Time of possession more than 2-1 in favor of the Raiders. On the ground, it's Jacobs. The 3 in the first down. Excellent mix of the pass and the run by Oakland. A drive that started back at their own 5. And the 2 false starts usually drive killers. Not the case here for the Raiders.
Chop, chop. You got to do it. Chop, chop. Seals has it.
Quick screen out to Ryan Grant. Stiff arm and not enough. And Isaac Yadam must have said, I've had enough. I've had enough being picked on. I'm going to come up and make a play.
Well, they didn't bring Bosby into the game, but they did give Isaac Yadam a little bit of help on the outside. They rolled a safety over top of him, which allowed him to come up and get Ryan Grant on the ground. It's the area of the field where they love Darren Waller just because of his size at 6'5". That tight end is a mismatch against safeties and linebackers.
See 55 breathing heavy. It's a long drive for the Raiders. Here's Carr, all sorts of time. He'll tuck it and slide. And that's one of the things John Gruden wanted to see out of his quarterback this year. More improvisation when things break down.
Look, he's one of the best athletes in the National Football League at the quarterback position. And when it's not there, then just pick up what you can, read it out. You see a gap, take it, slide, protect yourself, and then live to fight another down. Look, Derek Carr right now is playing as good as you've seen him play really in the last couple of years. I know it's early in this football game. I know it's the first game of the year. But this is a guy who's under tremendous composure. He's showing tremendous composure so far in this drive.
Hey, 4,000!
You're going to run this ball. You got two safeties back. They're going to run it, try to get first down on 3rd and 4.
They couldn't get it off in time. Yeah. Zeros on the play clock. Carr signaled for the timeout in time. Now that's the second Raiders timeout they've spent with 4:14 left in the half.
Situation there where John Gruden trying to get the exact right play called in a 3rd down situation in the red zone. That's a smart timeout by Carr.
Carr had like career year numbers last season, but people forgot about it because the Raiders were 4-12. He was as accurate as he's ever been last season, just didn't translate to victories.
There's Darren Waller extended in the formation. They love him in this situation.
Carr will throw it. Found a man on the seam. It's Hunter Renfrow, who just sat down, literally. And the Raiders are knocking at the door.
This is all Derek Carr moving in the pocket. It's not going to be a good pocket. You're going to get a free rusher in Josie Jewell, but look at that movement right there. Just to buy enough time, he knew that Hunter Renfrow was going to come open in the middle of the field. John Gruden calls those second chance opportunities when you can extend plays and make them right.
Got a fullback in there, and Alec Ingold. Gruden loves his fullbacks. 1st and goal. Second man throw is Josh Jacobs. Got there. Touchdown, Raiders.
There is no bigger statement than to come out on the first couple of drives in a game, first quarter and first drive of the second quarter, go the length of the field over 95 yards and punch it in the end zone.
Daniel Carlson boots it through, and if you can't make out the chant, let's just say it's derogatory in the direction of AB.
And after seeing that drive, why wouldn't they? They don't need AB here, they think. You want big plays? We'll do it on 3rd and 1. We'll go over the top to Tyrell Williams, and then we'll punch it in with the physical offensive line and Josh Jacobs at the end.
Yeah, this is the last season for the Raiders at Oakland. They lost a home game, one they're going to be in London. Only got 7 opportunities. They're going to come out and have a good time and support their team as they get ready to move to Las Vegas. What a start for the Raiders here tonight. That last drive got backed up to their own 2 and marched down the field, and now it's up to Joe Flacco and company to come up with an answer here.
This has been a house of horrors for the Denver Broncos, right? They've lost the last 3 times they've been here. Now this crowd is in the game. They're down 2 touchdowns. That takes a little bit of the sting of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb out of the game, but it's all on this offense and Joe Flacco. They've got to get this run game going in a hurry.
First down, Phillip Lindsay. That's got to be the best run of the game for the Broncos. Denver had just 4 rushing yards in the game prior to that.
But coming into this game, but Phillip Lindsay said that this was one of the things he thought they could get. He thought they could get some seams inside. And you see it's a great job of getting a kick-out block and getting the ball downhill north and south. They're going to have to establish that, Reese, as you mentioned. So now they're in favorable 2nd and short situations where they can exploit some of the matchups. Cortland Sutton has been uncoverable so far, but they've been behind the sticks so much, they haven't really been able to get into a rhythm.
back to Lindsey for first down yardage. Move the sticks. 2:44 left in the half. The Broncos do have all 3 timeouts. Denver will get the football to start the second half.
See Rich Gangarello, the first-time offensive coordinator, comes over. Vic Fangio is very excited about him. He's only 47 years old. He tutored under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. First time calling plays at the NFL level, and so far it's a little rocky going, but they've got to find some rhythm in their offense.
That's Lindsey, bottom of your screen. Raiders rush 4. Able to hit Cortland Sutton, just as you said, Lewis. They'll go back to him for a gain of 5.
Look, he's a tough matchup in the NFL. I don't care what team it is. And Gary and Conley and the rest of these cover guys for the Oakland Raiders are going to have to really be on top of it as far as their technique is concerned, because this guy will take one deep on you in a hurry, and they're going to try and get him loose.
2-minute warning in Oakland. 2-minute warning here in Oakland. Coming up, the Genesis halftime show with Scott Van Pelt. Breakdown of the Texans-Saints game. That might have been the best game of week 1 so far. Peyton's places, how good is Peyton at that? And a special performance by G-Eazy. All coming up. Genesis halftime show with SVP.
Saw him there with Fred Biletnikoff. I saw the judge Lester Hayes on the sideline before the game too.
On 2nd and 5, they're trying to get the football in the hands of Lindsey. We'll see who moved.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
I think this is the most important drive to date of this game for the Denver Broncos. They're down 14-0. They have got to get at least 3 points, something positive before going in at halftime. And right there, they're going in the wrong direction with Ron Leary.
Still no Jawan James. Elijah Wilkinson will play 3 offensive line positions. He remains in at right tackle. Flacco underneath. It's the first grab for Emmanuel Sanders, the elder statesman of the receiving corps for the Broncos.
Emmanuel Sanders has to be a focal point. He is by far the most explosive player on this Broncos team. He was a little bit bummed that AB wasn't playing this game. He wanted to go head-to-head, but he hasn't made much of an impact yet. Double A-gap, linebackers in the A-gap look. Pressure from Bart Gunther.
They drop out of it, just rushing 4. That pass was behind Sutton, deflected and caught. Deshaun Hamilton with the concentration off the fingertips of Sutton.
Cortland Sutton comes up a little bit gimpy. You're right, that ball thrown behind, and they're in the 2-minute situation.
Caught. Royce Freeman. You saw some confusion by the Raiders as P.J. Hall was running off the field.
Very fortunate there. Deshaun Hamilton in the right spot.
Only 44 seconds left in the half, and now finally Denver will spend a timeout. Again, they have all 3 remaining.
Yeah, they wasted about 12 seconds there. After that play, when you get tackled inbounds and you got 3 timeouts and you cross the 50-yard line, you got to take that timeout right away, and that Vic Fangio's got to call right away from the sideline.
Well, there's never been anyone quite like Dennis Rodman. Tomorrow at 9 Eastern, we'll premiere our next ESPN 30 for 30 film titled Rodman for Better or Worse, chronicling the NBA Hall of Famer's career and infamous exploits on and off the court. Jamie Foxx narrates. You know it'll be great. You can always watch it on the ESPN app from anywhere. People were waiting for the 30 for 30 on Antonio Brown just this last week. And you know that'll be coming soon.
But Vic Fangio didn't take a timeout there. He actually called the timeout for Cortland Sutton, who was injured on the field, and they had to get him off. So they still have all 3.
37 seconds left. Here's Flacco. There's a flag down again. Trying to go to Sanders on the sideline. 32 ticks left in the half.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 10 covered up number 17. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That's Emmanuel Sanders covering up Deshaun Hamilton, and the Broncos are self-destructing here in this 2-minute situation. Here he is right here. You got three guys. You got the tight end, the zebra, and the Z, and those two receivers have to be off the ball to make that tight end eligible. Vic Fangio has talked about death by inches. That's been his mantra since he's come to Denver, and it's those kinds of penalties that will drive him bonkers.
This is a drive that started so promising on the ground with Philip Lindsay.
And right after that, they come out and they're disorganized on offense and have to burn a timeout. That is not what Vic Fangio had in mind in this 2-minute drill.
32 seconds left. Fangio, an unbelievable story. Look, if you're the Raiders, I get it, you're rooting against the Broncos, but anybody else, how do you not like what Vic Fangio is all about? A professional coach for some 40 years, 32 in the NFL. This is his first time ever as a head coach. It boils down to he didn't really know where he should stand on the sideline. He's been up in the booth his whole career.
Look, it's going to be important for him to really establish what they really want to get done on this drive, because the run game has been non-existent. The play calling really hasn't had any rhythm. Philip Lindsay hasn't even been in the game for a large part of this drive. Now he's back in here. They got to get him going. This passing game, they have weapons on the outside, but it all starts with number 30.
On the Denver side of midfield. Good protection that time. Tipped off the fingers of Lindsay. Third down and 10.
There it is right there for you, Lewis. They're just trying to throw a little angle route, but this ball is late. Joe Flacco takes a hitch. It should be gone right now. He waits, and he's late and almost intercepted off the tip.
Well, that's the difference between him and Derek Carr so far in this game, right? Derek, back foot hits, the ball's out, the ball's where it needs to be. Joe right now is cut a little bit off kilter. He's out of rhythm here. This whole Broncos offense is out of rhythm, and you got to tip your hat to the Oakland Raiders defense and this crowd noise, because it is amped up right now.
Here's the pressure from Oakland. Flacco steps up and throws. Incomplete. Looking for Emmanuel Sanders, and the flag comes in late. Gary and Conley with the contact in the secondary for the Raiders.
One of the things that you see, these Oakland Raiders DBs are not scared to challenge on the outside.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Well, Gary on Conley's in good position here, and it looked like he just hooked around the backside of Emmanuel Sanders. And you're right, if I'm Rich Scangarello and I see guys sitting on my receivers, the first thing I'm going to do is go down the field with Emmanuel Sanders. And why not in this situation here in the red zone fringe with only 24 seconds left?
Still 2 timeouts for Denver. That's Lindsay, top of your screen.
Got to get the ball to him.
Flacco got it to Deshaun Hamilton, and that ball was on the money. They can say no. Jonathan Abram pounded him out of bounds, so it's an incomplete pass.
Well, that's equal parts Joe Flacco. That's equal parts Jonathan Abram. The ball's too high and it's late. Jonathan Abram, great break on the football, great clean legal hit. But this guy's going to be a guy to be heard of, Jonathan Abram. He's one of the best young safeties in the NFL.
Yeah, how about the awareness from Jonathan Abram? You know, in that situation, these defenders, you don't know how you're going to hit these guys, but for a rookie playing in his first professional game to come up in that situation and not get a penalty called and execute, that was well done.
19 seconds left in the half. Flacco, another batted ball knocked away. Wheel and furl. 3rd down and 10.
Leland Furl was well coached at Clemson. He knows how to rush. He was a part of a great defensive line there, and he knows if he can't get to the quarterback, just get a hand on the football and get the deflection.
The last time the Broncos were in this situation, suffered a crushing sack that pushed them out of field goal range.
How is Philip Lindsay not in the game here?
I look for a screen here.
Be about a 53-yarder from here. 16 seconds left. Flacco checks it down to Freeman. A marker comes out. Another penalty as the laundry piles up. And they're out of bounds at the 30-yard line. 10 seconds left in the half. Still 2 timeouts.
Holding. Offense. Number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Second time Fant has been flagged tonight.
And the second time that they've gotten down in the red zone, and then they've had a holding call. This time it's on Fant. Before it was on Elijah Wilkinson, and it took him out of field goal range.
What the Raiders are doing, what the Broncos are doing by not really establishing some balance here, they're letting the Raiders play the way they want to play, which is this. We've got you boxed into a corner. We know you're going to have to throw the football. We've been shutting down the run. Now we're going to show you all these new toys we got up front as far as being able to rush the pass.
Flacco, sideline, nothing doing. Emmanuel Sanders covered nicely by Darryl Worley. It's fourth down.
But these corners are continuing to play with a lot of guts and a lot of swagger. They're sitting on routes. They're playing with tremendous eyes. They're playing with tremendous technique as far as getting out of the break. Darryl Worley right there read the route perfectly and had no chance of being completed.
This is the worst defense in the National Football League last year, these Oakland Raiders. They gave up more points than any defense, and for them to come out and pitch a potential shutout here in this first half, it's been impressive.
Brandon McManus was lining up for what would have been a 64-yard field goal attempt. And a timeout was called, and McManus followed through. Brandon McManus has been incredibly accurate, except from beyond 50. He's missed his last 5 attempts from beyond 50. Inside of 50 last year, he was 18 for 18.
Listen, there's no way Vic Fangio would even attempt a 64-yard field goal from the dirt, okay, unless there was only 5 seconds left in the half. He's not worried about Oakland getting the ball and getting some field position to go down and kick a field goal. That's why you take this risk in this situation. Dwayne Harris is back in the end zone in case he comes up short.
64-yard attempt on the way. No good. Did not have the leg. And the Raiders have blanked the Broncos on the scoreboard. And Tahir Whitehead lets McManus know about it.
What a half for the Raiders. Offensive, they looked sharp. Derek Carr came out, he was on. They ran the football with their new rookie Josh Jacobs, and these Denver Broncos really haven't had any answer in the first half.
First half that featured just 6 incomplete passes. Broncos do get the ball to start the second half. We'll join the Scott Van Pelt show for the Genesis halftime report, starting right now. The autumn wind might be a Raider, but the same cannot be said about Antonio Brown. They haven't missed him at all as we get ready for the third quarter. And the Raiders leading the Broncos 14-0 in the final game of this week 1 of the 100th season of the NFL, 60th season for the Broncos and Raiders, 50th season for Monday Night Football. Louis Riddick, Brian Greasy, I'm Steve Levy, Diana Rossini on the sideline. So Derek Carr has 1 incompletion, and he really didn't miss. It was knocked down. He was amazing in the first half.
You know, we didn't know how Derek Carr was going to react. All the ups and downs of this week, guys, with Antonio Brown. How would this team come out with 8 new starters on the offense? Derek Carr has been nothing short of perfect. He has thrown the ball down the field. He's gotten his new weapons in Darren Waller and Tyrell Williams involved on the first scoring drive. And then without the speed of Antonio Brown, he's used short yardage situations to go down the field.
I think Derek Carr is putting on tape exactly what he said he would, which was a virtuoso type of performance in an offense where he is very much so comfortable now. And you're seeing him do some of the things that John Gruden wanted him to. Namely, second reaction, second chance plays. You saw it on that last clip there to Hunter Renfrow. Derek Carr is one of the best athletes in the NFL. You go 16 of 17 for 178 yards and a touchdown in the first half at home against a division opponent. You're going to give your team a very good chance to win the football game.
Conversely, the Broncos had an awful 2-minute offense at the end of that first half. We didn't know what to expect out of them. The starters for the Broncos played about 20 snaps in the preseason. Joe Flacco in the ones got a couple of field goals in the preseason, and they come out looking rusty.
Yeah, really, it's been the penalties in the red zone. One on Juwan James, a holding penalty, and then Noah Fant on that 2-minute drive really took him out of scoring range.
But Denver will get the football to open up the second half. Still no opportunities for Deontay Spencer. A return for the Broncos. Down to the field, here's Diana Rossini. Diana had a lot of interesting things to say there, and you will hear them shortly. From the 25. Coming out of the halftime locker room with Philip Lindsay. Stopped by Maurice Hurst. Here are those interesting things with Diana.
Thanks, Steve. I talked to Vic Fangio and I said, what do you make of your offense? He said, look at the scoreboard. We've got no points. We're not playing too well right now. We need to pick up some first downs on offense. On defense, we've got to get off the field on third down. John Gruden, you know what he had to say? He said, how about that adversity? It ain't here.
Second and 8. Flacco zips one in at Cortland Sutton. Sutton's been his favorite target tonight. That's his 5th grab and a gain of 24.
The Raiders are going to double team the best receiver for the Broncos in Emmanuel Sanders. That is going to leave the middle of the field, Lewis, open for Cortland Sutton. And this is the 2nd or 3rd time Joe Flacco's found him in the middle.
I think what you're seeing there is the Raiders get in trouble when they go zone against this football team. They had a lot of success in the 2nd quarter, manning these guys up, being very much so aggressive at the line of scrimmage. They go zone, they're picking them apart. I wouldn't expect them to play too much zone anymore.
Right back to Lindsay on the ground, making some people miss. Philip Lindsay down to the Oakland 40 before Josh Morrow made the stop. Lindsay last year a brilliant rookie campaign, the first undrafted offensive player to make the Pro Bowl as a rookie, and his season came to an end here, a broken wrist Christmas Eve against the Raiders here in Oakland. He wasn't able to play in the finale or in the Pro Bowl. Wide open, Deshaun Hamilton. And Flacco couldn't put it in a great spot for him. LaMarcus Joyner makes the tackle. The first time I've mentioned Joyner's name tonight.
But there's a perfect example of quarterbacks when they don't put it in a catchable place, or rather in a place where a receiver can then just catch and run. It's behind him there. You see he's all off balance. He gives LaMarcus Joyner a chance to catch up on the play and make a tremendous tackle.
Lewis, that was the difference between getting a first down and now being in a 3rd and 3 situation.
Absolutely.
That's a 2-yard loss to a wide open target.
All these Raiders up around the line of scrimmage.
Lindsay picked up the blitz, and it's Noah Fant with a big grab. Down to the 21, Joyner made the stop.
It's great execution on the throw and catch, but this play doesn't happen without Philip Lindsay. You mentioned it, Steve. He's not very big. He's only 190 pounds, but he'll step in there and take on Vontaze Burfict at 260 pounds.
And when you talk about matchups, Noah Fant against LaMarcus Joyner, that's one that they're going to have to exploit. You're talking about a guy who maybe has 5-6 inches on the defender, and Noah Fant has to play a part in this game, especially as you start getting down here in the red area. Tight ends, this is where they live, this is where they make their money. Noah Fant has to show up.
Here's Royce Freeman picking and choosing inside the 20. Gain of 4 on the play.
Talked about Noah Fant's pass catching ability, but I think he's an underrated blocker, and so does Vic Fangio. They're excited about him. They're a physical tight end from Iowa. They love to run the football at Iowa. They love his ability to block on the edge and perimeter in the run game.
You see how this offense has a totally different tone to it now because they're not operating behind the sticks and they're running the football.
It's Freeman again. They'll rip off about 6. Bring up a 3rd down and short. Rich Scangarello told us about Fant. He's a good blocker, and he enjoys it. He likes to block, and not every tight end does.
Well, he came out same time, and Lewis knows, evaluating tight ends. T.J. Hawkinson was drafted higher than him, and everybody thought he was a better blocker, but Rich Scangarello did not agree. He felt like Fant was the better blocker. They're going to need him here in 3rd and short.
Blitz up the middle. It's Lindsey. Down to the 6. Philip Lindsey. Looks like some urgency on this Denver offensive drive, too.
Well, he was dead to rights. They had outside. Watch up the field as the rush going to come. And this move inside by Philip Lindsey, this should be a negative yardage play, Lewis, and he turns it into a 1st down.
What do you do when it's not blocked perfectly? That is the hallmark of great backs. That is a hallmark of legendary backs. It doesn't have to be blocked perfectly. You can make guys miss out the space. That's why we said all along, it's tricky little formation here.
Flacco looking left where everybody is, and it's Royce Freeman. And all of that for nothing. Maybe a yard on the play. 2nd and goal.
Well, it looked like this play was designed to go to the outside. All these guys over here, they want to run the ball out here, but when he goes inside, that's where all the Raiders are. Watch how this is blocked. It's supposed to be outside. That was poorly executed from Royce Freeman.
Flacco being chased now, and it's batted down. Knocked out at the line of scrimmage, Josh Morrow.
So look, I'm a big believer in momentum. They had a nice drive going on here. I don't know why you have to kind of take yourself out of that kind of momentum by trying to get into some kind of trick type of play.
Look at this, Emmanuel Sanders. This is the 3rd time that he slipped on this field. He's supposed to be the primary receiver, and when he goes down, there's nowhere for Joe Flacco to go with the ball.
You know, despite the slip, look, Gary and Conley is playing a good game here. These guys are really challenging the Raiders defensive backs, the Denver Broncos wide receivers, and playing tight man coverage. They're going to have to do it here again.
3rd and goal from the 5.5.
Got man-to-man at the top of the screen with Cortland Sutton.
One to snap it. Just got it away. Flacco in some trouble. And now he'll be dropped, and the football came out. There is a flag down as the Raiders pick it up. And now you hear the whistles. Josh Morrow very active on this Raiders defense here.
Boy, for a team in the Raiders that only had 13 sacks, the worst in the NFL a year ago, they have got consistent pressure on Joe Flacco in this game.
And let's not give all the credit to the pass rush. Let's give some of it to the secondary. These guys, when they play man-to-man, they are absolutely coming down and suffocating the Broncos wide receivers. And it all works together, front and coverage. You hold your coverage better, longer in the back end. You give your rush some time to get home, and that's what's happening tonight.
They're going to get a hold on the Raiders, and John Gruden wants to see if I want to challenge if that ball came out of Joe Flacco's hands before he went down on the ground.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Go back and take a look, see if this ball comes out of Joe Flacco's hands before he goes down.
Teresa, while we're on replay, another flag just came out.
Field that the runner was down by contact. Timeout.
Here comes the ball.
There's a face mask.
Face mask they missed there, and then no, that elbow goes down. He was down.
We'll sort all this out when we come back.
After review, the ruling on the field stance was called. Denver was called for offensive holding. Oakland has refused that penalty. Therefore, it's 4th down, Denver. Oakland will be charged with the first team timeout.
There's a lot to unpack there. Jim Diopoulos, 25-year veteran, on-field supervisor in the NFL. Jim, talk to me.
I felt they ruled forward progress, but it was not a clear and obvious fumble, so they just made the play stand as called.
The lost timeout, the challenge, and McManus able to get the Broncos on the board with a 26-yard field goal. You guys kind of disagreed up here in the booth as to whether that was a fumble or not.
I think there's not enough evidence here. It looks to me like the elbow goes down, and that's when the ball starts to come out. Although his fingers explode.
Yeah, it's coming loose, but when you're talking about clear and obvious, I guess that's not clear and obvious enough.
That's a 3-point ruling right there.
Depending upon which jersey you wear as a fan.
The Raiders.
Oh, look at that! Look at it from that. Well,
I think the Raiders defense is the story here in this game so far. Outside of Derek Carr, they have gotten down in the red zone 3 times, and they have kept the Denver Broncos out of the end zone.
The Broncos have run the last 22 plays. They've had the last 22 offensive snaps in the game and have just 3 points to show for it. The awful 2-minute offense to end the first half, and that long drive that results in a McManus field goal. 14-3. Go out of the back of the end zone. Top story, not just in Oakland, but league-wide, has been Antonio Brown's short drama-filled tenure with the Raiders. Lots to chew on there. There was the cryotherapy, of course, the frostbite. Lost 2 grievances with the NFL regarding his helmet, leading to the all-in or all-out edict from Mike Mayock. And then AB posted a letter to his Instagram showing Mayock's letter that fined him. The Raiders plan to suspend Brown following a verbal altercation with Mayock. And so on and so forth. And hello, New England. Antonio Brown. First down and 10 for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, no gain. Shelby Harris stuffed that hole. So how many points will the Patriots score against that Miami defense with Antonio Brown on Sunday?
yeah, that could get ugly. You're talking about an offense that's very diverse, that can hit you with so many different things, both in the short passing game and the deep passing game. Now with Josh Gordon, you saw how he looked the other night. Look, this offense is lethal up there in New England.
Will the Ravens score 59 against Miami? 14-3 Oakland. Carr out of the gun. Some pressure. Unloads underneath to Darren Waller.
You know, we talk about Antonio Brown, and we talked with both John Gruden and Derek Carr Saturday this weekend, and they have had enough. They don't want to hear Antonio Brown's name one more time, and why would you blame him? You know, clearly you can hold John Gruden responsible, and as he should be, but Derek Carr wasn't responsible for bringing AB in, and I don't blame him if you feel a little bit of a betrayal with him leaving and going to New England, because you spent all that time, you try to get him ready, and then he leaves you. But Derek Carr has stood up and responded in this first game.
Running on 3rd and 4. Richard, the ball carrier. I think they're going to mark him just short. Let's see. Very close to the line.
That was a great play from Derek Wolfe. He's going to force a 4th down. Number 95. He's just reading it and then falls off and gets Richard on the ground. And it looks like John Gruden's got a decision to make here. It looks like he wants to go for it, but he knows up 14-3 with the way his defense is playing. Don't put him behind the situation here and punt the football.
At their own 35-yard line. First 3 and out for the Raiders. Deontay Spencer. The return game for the Broncos has been an issue for years now. And it's a short punt. We'll take a Raider bounce and go out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. It's a 43-yard punt by the undrafted rookie A.J. Cole. Thus the reaction. Broncos break the huddle. Trailing 14-3. First down and 10 from their own 24. On the ground, it's Phillip Lindsay able to turn the corner. Pick him about 8 yards, and John Gruden won't have enjoyed that last play. And the facial expressions are fun to see.
Hey, what are we doing? Hey, man, I wanted to go for it on 4th and 1, and then you give my punter shanks it, and I only get 20 yards? Come on, man. And those are actually, he's actually happy tonight.
Flacco will throw it in the dirt. Frank Caliendo's not going to lose his job anytime soon, though, Grease. That was an awful impression.
Yeah, but Frank Caliendo didn't have to sit in the quarterback room with him for 3 years either. I've seen all those looks.
We actually talked about it with Gruden. He was telling somebody, hey, you weren't in the room, you know, for I said, well, Greasy was in the room, and he said, yeah, 2 stints. It couldn't have been that bad if Greasy came back a second time. Lewis also had the opportunity to...
Oh, yeah. I got some stories for you, too.
Was on the air or off?
A little bit of both.
Both Freeman and Lindsey in the game. That's Lindsey split out top of your screen. There was 1 second left to snap it. And the Broncos take a timeout there. Each team with 2 remaining, with 6.5 to play here in the 3rd quarter. So, Grease, you are uniquely qualified to talk about playing quarterback for John Gruden. Many people wouldn't understand that.
Well, it was a great opportunity, right? He was a great play caller, very innovative. You know, everybody wonders, why did he get up at 3:30 in the morning? Like, what are you doing at 3:45 in the morning? Well, he was making these tip sheets. Like, I pulled out an old tip sheet. He writes these things down by hand, and he gives these to quarterbacks. I never felt more prepared in my career than playing for John Gruden. He really, really is one of the most innovative and best offensive coaches going.
Knock on wood if you're with me. 3rd and 2. Underneath. And just enough yardage there. It's Lindsey. Needed 2, got 4.
Philip Lindsey in the passing game is something that they have to continue to try and utilize. It was something that Philip himself said he was looking forward to being more of a factor. He's one of those guys, if you can get him matched up on linebackers, he's one of the best athletes and one of the most explosive guys in the short area that you'll find in the NFL. I would expect he plays a bigger role in that phase as this game progresses here.
Fresh set of downs for the Broncos. On the ground for a couple. And if you didn't know, John Gruden's also a mathematician.
100, 97, 94, 91, 88, 85, 82, 79, 76, 73. Can you do that? 70, 67, 64, 61, 58, 55, 52, 49, 46, 43, 40, 37, 34, 31, 28, 25, 22, 19, 16, 13, 10, 7, 4, 1.
Yeah, don't stop on our account, John. Royce Freeman's got the first down. So that's a rather unique skill.
Yeah, that's going to get you into college someday. You know, he's got definitely some idiosyncrasies about him that if you play long enough for him, you learn to love. And he'll keep your attention, that's for sure.
Here's Freeman. Nice run by Royce Freeman down the sideline. Knocked out by Jonathan Abram.
Gonna tax him more.
There is a flag down. It was a gain of 26. And Conley got the worst of that exchange.
Royce Freeman goes 6 feet, 238 pounds. He is a load. That play was blocked well, and it come over on the sideline. Garyon Conley. You just hope he's all right, not moving.
Personal foul. Lowering the head to initiate contact. Defense number 24. That penalty is half the distance from the goal and a first down.
That's Jonathan Abram, the hard-hitting rookie.
Look, this is a young man who made his name with hard hits. He's just going to have to learn here in this kind of situation. It's tough to play defense in the NFL, no question about it, but you're going to have to learn. Otherwise, you're going to cost your football team.
Garyon Conley is the injured player for the Raiders. Third-year player out of Ohio State. He's actually hit by his own teammate, Jonathan Abram, which doesn't make it any better, as you can see Conley being attended to. The flag was thrown. You see Abram, 24, in the black come over and clearly initiates lowering his helmet, lowering the boom there on Royce Freeman.
Yeah.
So New York will take a look at that.
Afterward, Jonathan Abram's leg comes down right on top of the helmet of Garyon Conley. It looks like he compressed his head, and that you worry about the neck right there in that situation.
Yep. The chin going down towards his chest. That's just not a natural position. But look, it's tough playing defensive back. It's tough playing defense in the NFL nowadays, because in that situation you have Royce Freeman. You talked about the fact that this is a compact, tough runner that plays with tremendous leverage. And it's tough for defensive backs. It's tough for defenders in general to try and figure out how to hit these guys when they're that low to the ground while keeping your head out of it and yourself playing with good leverage. And it makes it tough. I understand how the league is trying to keep the head out of the game, and rightfully so, because you don't want to see these kind of situations, although this was kind of a freak type of situation. But this is why the league is making an emphasis on this.
As Conley is still attended to, we'll step out. These are live pictures now of Gary and Conley being stretched off the field. Conley did suffer from a concussion last season. Concussed in week 15. Missed a game in week 16. Came back in week 17. And nobody feels worse than Jonathan Abram, his teammate.
Yeah, you just hope that they're taking every precaution here. Anytime you're dealing with any head or neck injury, they're going to do this. And you hope that Garyon Conley is all right. Heck of a football player. He's had a great camp, and the Raiders have been excited about him in his 3rd year. And just this freak kind of accident, as you said, Lewis, that chin goes down, and that's always something you got to be careful with.
You can protect, you can put rules in. You can't account, though, for this kind of play.
Look, it's just a part of the game, and it's an unfortunate part of the game. And he's a good player, and he's a player, as Grease said, look, they really like him. They really like how he was coming on here in his 3rd year. But Trayvon Mullen is someone who they like as well, and someone who played some good football for Clemson. And he's going to have to step up here because his defense has been playing good. They've been playing some really good man-to-man coverage, and that's something he excels at.
Raiders were already young at the cornerback spot, and now you get even younger with the rookie out of Clemson. And if you're the Broncos offense here, being as sensitive as you are, Grease,
no, you know, you
go right after the rookie.
You have an opportunity, right? You know, Trayvon Mullen's a good player, but he is a rookie. So, and this is a tight game, 14-3 game. If the Broncos score here, touchdown, we got a ball game. And the momentum has shifted in this game. Since the Raiders scored to make it 14-0 in the end of the first half, it's been 28 plays of offense for the Broncos, only 3 for the Raiders.
And why is that? The run game has started clicking. They're starting to play true to who Rich Scangarello said they wanted to be. He said they want it to be balanced. They want to be multiple. And the run game, particularly running to their right, has really started yielding some nice chunk gains so far.
Broncos had just 15 rushing yards in the first half. Now they're up to 88 for the game. So after an unfortunate play for the Raiders, it's a big spot in the game. A personal foul penalty, half the distance to the goal, has the ball spotted at the 13 of Oakland. And first down. Right back to that running game with Philip Lindsay down to the 8. Gain of 5 on the play.
Philip Lindsay, he's so small and shifty. He's difficult to see behind that big offensive line. Sometimes he just gets in there and hides, and defensive linemen can't get to him before he's past him.
No huddle for the Broncos. That's Tim Patrick. Right back to Lindsay. And he's spun down at about the 9-yard line. Carl Joseph. Coaching staff told us he'll flash. He flashed right there, made a big spot.
Look, between Carl Joseph and Jonathan Abram, these are 2 of the hardest hitting safeties in the NFL. You see him drop down into the box late, able to beat the block, go low, and make the tackle for a loss. I mean, that's how you draw it up. Now they got to go ahead and deliver one more time here on 3rd down, see if they can hold him to a field goal.
This is why you bring Joe Flacco in for these situations, 3rd downs and red zone. You got to make the right decision. This is where you make your money as a quarterback.
Flacco steps, fires, and it's dropped. Deshaun Hamilton had 6. Now he has nothing. 4th down.
Joe Flacco did everything he needed to do. He moved the defense. He looked one way. Watch him look to the right, and then he comes back and fires a bullet to Deshaun Hamilton. You have to make that play for your quarterback.
Deshaun Hamilton's one of those guys that Joe said he depended on. Would be in the spots that he needed him to be in, and someone he would look for in crucial situations.
The reliable receiver, the all-time leading receiver at Penn State, with the drop in the end zone. And the only points for the Broncos, a pair of 26-yard field goals tonight by Brandon McManus. 14-6.
You draw these red zone plays up. You don't show them in the preseason, and this was perfectly executed. You're looking one way, moving the safety, and you come back, and you got to catch this ball with your hands, right? That's what you always teach the receivers. As soon as it gets into your pads and it hits that pad, it can bounce off. That's just poor technique.
I think what you saw there is a little bit of a conservative call by Paul Gunther, the defensive coordinator, playing a little bit more of a match zone type of concept, which creates some natural throwing windows, especially if you don't match the patterns quickly. They've had a lot of success playing man-to-man against the Broncos, and they're going to have to go back to that. But I tell you what, if they don't get this run game figured out as far as defending it, this game could change in a hurry if they can start scoring touchdowns.
Even though he dropped that, right, it's still a one-score game, right? You get his 1 score and 2 point. That was an impressive drive coming out of halftime for the Broncos. At least they take that in.
32 of the last 35 offensive snaps have all belonged to Denver. And this Denver defense, because of that, will be well rested. The red-hot Derek Carr comes out on the field. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Dodge. November 30th, 1987. Bo Jackson with a Monday night performance for the ages. Over 230 total yards, 3 touchdowns. And the Boz was on the wrong end of that. Brian Bosworth on his way to the end zone. Bo Jackson getting it done.
Monday, set. Blue Whitey, set.
Carr off the play fake. Under pressure. Shot down the middle of the field. Into double coverage on Tyrell Williams. Yadam and Simmons both there for Denver.
Well, they got beat in the first half on a deep post to Williams. But these guys back here, they're too smart. They are not going to bite. Watch them pass this off. You got a crosser. That's covered, and a double coverage on the post. That's as good as you can do it by Simmons and Yadam.
When you're a free safety, you got to let the front take care of the run. And Simmons did a great job. He knows that they've been burned so far. You saw him there. He never even looked at the play fake.
Guys, we have 3.5 left in the third quarter, and Derek Carr has 2 incompletions. 2. He's complete there. Short gain. Out to that tight end, Darren Waller.
The multiple ways that they continue to use one of the best athletes on this football team, a little tight end screen. You see there, just tries to push Bradley Chubb up the field, turns around, gets the screen, and then it's just yards after the catch. And as big and as fast and as athletic as he is, and that's a great play call here, setting up a 3rd and short.
I love those tricks, right? Quarterbacks and play callers use that trick against a great pass rusher because he wants to get to you so fast. The guy who's assigned to block him, throw him the screen. That works great.
180. What's up?
3rd and 2. On the ground, Josh Jacobs making people miss. Kareem Jackson the stop, and not until Jacobs had the first down yardage.
This is one of the biggest offensive lines in football. Big Trent Brown, you got Rodney Hudson. Denzel Good is 6'5", 340 pounds. They're starting to come off the football and come downhill.
Downward.
Good pocket. Going for Waller, and Kareem Jackson came over to make sure he couldn't make that grab. Darren Waller has 6 catches all of last season. He has 7 so far tonight. A guy who has dealt with substance abuse issues, missing games in 16 and 17. And you ever wonder how he winds up on the roster? John Gruden saw Waller on the sideline. He's on the practice squad for Baltimore, watched him warming up and say, hey, give me that guy. And 2 days later, he was off the Ravens practice squad, and he was an Oakland Raider. They think he could be the best tight end in the whole league.
Well, he's a converted to wide receiver, played at Georgia Tech, so he's got the speed.
DeAndre Washington Out to midfield, Simmons, another stop there. Gain of 6 on the play, Simmons and Miller.
Well, I can just tell you, look, as a former defensive back, this guy would give me nightmares if I was ever out here on the perimeter with him one-on-one, because he's so long and he's so tall and has such long arms. He can just push off and go up over the top of you down the field. He has the speed to run away from you across the field. And here, after the catch, look, even though you got him down on the ground there, this guy is tough to bring down after the catch. He's a multi-dimensional weapon, Grease, that John is figuring out creative ways to use.
Jared Cook was their leading receiver a year ago. They had to replace that production, and Waller, I think, will be up to the task.
Underneath, tight quarters, and Ryan Grant couldn't pull it down. Kareem Jackson, the big breakup on 3rd down.
That's 2 nice plays by Kareem Jackson in this drive. A former corner who they play at safety, can play at nickel. He can cover tight ends. He can cover backs, cover wide receivers. That's why you pay guys like that big money, because they're versatile as far as taking away the opponent's multi-dimensional attack.
You could argue he was one of the most important pieces that Vic Fangio added on this defense. And he's a joker. You can play him in any of these situations, any hands, and he's going to produce.
A.J. Cole. Deontay Spencer still looking for an opportunity to return one. A flag comes in as the fair catch was signaled.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 41. That penalty's half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Block in the back on a fair catch.
Grace, you mentioned it earlier. You can tell right there by the look on Coach Fangio's face, this is not what he's going to be happy about.
This is Devontae Bosby at the top. And he just pushes Devontae Harris in the back. And why?
If anything, you're pushing him closer to your return man, who's signaling for the fair catch. Broncos in the black hole from their own 5, their worst starting field position. And Flacco wants to throw out of it. Dumps it off for Deshaun Hamilton. I beg your pardon, that's Noah Fant.
Nice job by Joe Flacco. Nothing open initially. Don't give up on it. You can tell he doesn't want to run. That's not what an 11-year vet wants to do. He's going to wait, survey the field, and nice job by Noah Fant getting open. And I'll tell you what, Jonathan Abram, he's going to make you feel him at the end of this game. He's coming up and hitting everybody.
2nd and 1. On the ground, Lindsey not going to get there. Excellent run defense by the Raiders, led by Carl Joseph, who lost it 2.
And there's his counterpoint. There's his counterpoint. His counterpartner, I should say. Look, Carl Joseph, again, when he's down around the line of scrimmage, this guy's a heat-seeking missile. Don't sit there and wait for it. Go and attack it. If the blocker doesn't want to come out and get you, if Fant wants to sit there and wait for you, then go attack the ball carrier. And him and Abrams right now, they're lighting it up.
Flacco the pump, and off the grass, Fant couldn't scoop it up. 4th down, Curtis Riley had the coverage, and that looks like that was the final play of the 3rd quarter. And we'll step out. 1-score game, headed to the 4th, the Coliseum. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, Diana Rossini from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Final ever Monday nighter here at the Coliseum. Of course, the Raiders, after this season, one way or the other, they're going to Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
They open up quarter number 4. Colby Wadman will boot it away. Dwayne Harris, it's a short punt, he'll let it bounce. Takes a fortunate Denver bounce. Harris is a guy who had a 99-yard punt return for a score week 16 here against the Broncos. That's a 48-yard punt. Hey, cool cars, big stunts, and the Avengers Kobe Smulders. ABC's hotly anticipated new series, Stumptown. This is action, drama, and comedy in what USA Today calls one of the best news shows of the fall. Stumptown premieres Wednesday, September 25th at 10 Eastern, 9 Central on ABC. Best starting field position of the game for the Raiders. is their own 40-yard line.
Blue 80. Is that?
Carr to throw, and why wouldn't he? Right underneath the covers for Josh Jacobs. Jacobs stays on his feet. And down to the 32 of the Broncos. 28 in all effort for the rookie out of Alabama.
This is all designed from John Gruden. He's going to run everybody off on the outside, and Derek Carr from the very beginning knows he wants to get that ball to Josh Jacobs, and you see the talent once he gets the ball in his hand.
But their running backs are some of their best players on this football team between him and Jalen Richard. You can get them in space, get them underneath with a lot of the second and third level defenders retreating downfield and let him get ahead of steam. Josh Jacobs, I can promise you, is one of those guys you don't want to see coming at you like that.
Raiders had 0 touchdown catches by running backs last season. That figures to change with Jacobs. But keep it on the ground with him there. Tries a little shake and bake, and he is dropped by Chris Harris Jr. Down to Diana.
You know, Steve, I started my day talking to Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney about the 3 Clemson players on the Raiders. Well, we wound up switching the conversation up talking about Josh Jacobs. He said, you better know where this guy is on the field. In fact, he's the best player I ever faced at Alabama.
And he was really underutilized. Got low mileage on him from his college days. Had the share carries with Damian Harris, Najee Harris. He's got plenty of wear left on those tires. Welcome to the NFL. That's Tyrell Williams for a couple. Again, Chris Harris Jr. to stop. I think that might be the first time I mentioned Harris all game long.
Yeah, they haven't had the need to go after him. They've been going after Adam the whole game. And on that little quick hitch, I'll tell you, you saw right there, Trent Brown cut Von Miller on that little 3-step hitch. Trent Brown is, I'm telling you, this is a big man. Just look at him there. Although Von slips a little, Trent Brown's one of the best athletes in the NFL, and he can switch it up and play you however you want to play. You want to play power, I'll play power. You want to play finesse, I can do it all.
Von Miller said he was one of the best tackles he goes against. He loves playing against him. But it's a challenge for sure.
Here's Carr. Protection's been great all night. Sails one for Williams, and he brought it down. Tyrell Williams putting on a show. Hauls that one in from 24 yards.
Great structure here. They get a chip on Von Miller. Jalen Richard helps out Trent Brown, and then this throw, you mentioned they haven't thrown the ball much on Chris Harris. Tyrell Williams made that play on Harris that time.
Let me tell you how great of a play that was. Tyrell slipped coming off the line, didn't even get a clean release. And Derek just waited for him, had the protection, and put it high. And that's the advantage of having receivers who are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". I don't care how good Chris Harris is. One-on-one, you're not going to win that battle.
And we're approaching Phil Simms' kind of Super Bowl completion percentage. Carr's 21 of 25. Keeps it on the ground. Bangs it down towards the goal line for the touchdown Raiders.
There's nothing worse than having the ball run right at you down here on the goal line. They get a double team at the point of attack, and that's just man on man. That's just who wants it more, who's going to get their pads low, and Josh Jacobs just finishes it off beautifully.
The Oakland Raiders, 3 trips to the red zone, 3 touchdowns. The Broncos, 2 red zone trips, 2 field goals. There's your ball game to this point.
We talked about this team and how they would respond with all the turmoil, all the question marks, everybody telling them they can't be this, they can't be that without Antonio Brown. Who knows what the Raiders are going to be this season, but they have answered the bell tonight.
And Carson on the way, and good. And they're doing it against what we thought would be a fierce Broncos defense. Moving up and down the field, really at will. 21-6, home team. Being homeless as a child to a first-round draft pick and continues to serve as his motivation. Only 2 Raider rookies have ever rushed for 50 yards in a season opener. The great Marcus Allen, Jalen Richard. Now Jacobs becomes the 3rd. He's got 52 yards rushing here tonight.
It's one of the best stories I've ever read or heard, and he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't talk about it a lot when he was at Alabama, and then he came here, and now he's kind of opening up about it because he realized that he can be an inspiration for so many other people, and he's an inspiration to me as well.
Just bouncing around with his dad and 4 siblings in and out of cars and hotels. He said when he got to Alabama, got the full ride, right? On scholarship, dorm room, he still slept on the floor.
Yeah, that's what he's used to.
He was much more comfortable in that spot. He's got the Raiders on top here tonight. Royce Freeman just back to the line of scrimmage. Tahir Whitehead made the tackle.
We talked about what are they most excited about with Josh Jacobs. Why was he the first running back taken? It's because of his versatility, Lewis. He's able to pound. He catches the ball as good as any back that came out in the draft, and he's smart.
Flacco will take a shot, got a man. There's the explosive Emmanuel Sanders. And that's just the play the Broncos needed. It's a 53-yard strike.
I'm surprised it's taken the Broncos this long to target Emmanuel Sanders. You got to get your best player, your speed guy, in a tight split, and he's just going to run right down the field. And as a safety, Lewis, you know this, if you allow Emmanuel Sanders with that speed to get on top, he's going to go right by you.
What they're doing there, they're playing quarters on the strong side, and Carl Joseph got lazy with his eyes, got his eyes caught inside on the tight end on number 2. Instead of getting depth, getting out of there and trying to help the corner out, the corner's got to stay on top of it. It's just a breakdown. It's just a fundamental breakdown of a simple coverage, simple route.
Pitch to Freeman. He'll bang down inside the 20. Max Crosby makes the stop. Sanders is returning from torn left Achilles he suffered back in December. A month later, a lot of people didn't realize he had to have ankle surgery. He's finished the last 2 seasons on IR. And the Broncos need him to be explosive in this offense.
And he's in a contract year, so he is motivated to get back healthy and produce.
Fires. It's Sanders again. To the 16, it's a gain of 4. People at home are going to want to know, why now? Why all of a sudden now go to Emmanuel Sanders? Where has this been all game?
Well, I think it's the equal parts. You know, it's a coverage breakdown as much as it was good execution on the part of the Broncos, but they took advantage of it. And here, but they're going to start trying to feed him. It's money time. It's crunch time. You got to go to your most explosive players. Grease, you said he's the most explosive player on this team. You got to figure out a way to utilize him here down the stretch.
3rd and 2. All sorts of time. That's great coverage by the Raiders defense. And Cleveland Farrell is there for the sack, loss of 7.
This is the coverage, all about the coverage on the back end. We say, why don't you double team Emmanuel Sanders? Watch, you're going to get a double team with these 2 guys. There's nowhere for Joe Flacco to go with this football. It's a great adjustment by Paul Gunther. You see right there, nowhere to go with that ball.
Yeah, it's good outside leverage there by Trayvon Mullen and chasing him across the field. And Jonathan Abram positioned himself perfectly in the middle of the field to take away that deep crosser.
3rd sack of the night for the Raiders. Leads to the 3rd field goal of the night for the Broncos.
Field goals ain't going to get it done, not in the NFL.
And some extracurriculars.
A little bit of acting going on down there.
Garrett Bowles was in it. Some of those Raiders, good job not throwing the flag there by the officials.
You guys both played in this rivalry. You know about that.
Oh, yeah, there's some bad blood out there. That's for sure.
There was no acting back in your day. Back in Oakland. 8:39 to go. The final Monday Night Football game here at the Coliseum, and the Raiders enjoying a 21-9 lead. And the Raiders will get the football back. Dwayne Harris will run it out 3 yards deep out of the end zone. Up the middle of the field. Dwayne Harris still on his feet. Dwayne Harris down to the 31-yard line. Harris, who had a 99-yard punt punt return touchdown. Week 16 against these Broncos here last season. A kick return of 72 yards.
The Denver Broncos have been abysmal at kickoff coverage for the past 2 years. They've had problem after problem. This time, Keyshawn Pierre, number 40, gets pinned, and that allows Harris to the outside.
You want to change the momentum. You want to absolutely put them down in the coffin of the team. Then go ahead and bust a long kickoff return like this, and just hear this crowd. This crowd is going crazy, and now they've got plus 50 field position going in for another score potentially again.
What a spark for the Raiders. Derek Carr on the ground. Oakland will look to chew some clock with Jacobs.
You're going to see the same steady diet. Look at him. Just feed me, feed me. He is, like you mentioned, doesn't have a whole lot of tread on the tires from Alabama. He's fresh. He didn't get a whole lot of carries in preseason. He is ready to work in fourth quarter. For a back like that, with that kind of size, can wear down a defense.
Man-on-man blocking. You saw Rodney Hudson right there just absolutely take his guy and just drive him off the ball. John Gruden's going to lean on his offensive lineman in this kind of situation. This is where those guys take over, and that's where you win or lose the football game, which is up front in the trenches.
Rodney Hudson's the highest paid center in the NFL. Played every single snap on offense for the Raiders last season. Can you imagine that? As the center. Jacobs will push the pile and get the first down, and the clock will wind down to 7.5 left.
You give some credit to Denzel Good as well, and to Jordan Devey. You know, we thought that this line wouldn't be able to run block without Richie Incognito and without Gabe Jackson, but both those guys have plugged in Denzel Good. They just got this offseason, number 71 from Indianapolis. They're excited about him. So when they get Gabe Jackson back, and they've got 5 guys over 330 pounds up front, it might be the biggest line in the NFL.
We thought Von Miller and Bradley Chubb might be able to have their way with Colton Miller and Jordan Devey. That has not been the case tonight. It's Jacobs again. Met rudely by Josie Jewell.
And I think some of that reason, Steve, why they haven't really been able to affect this game is because, look, Vic Fangio told us what defensive coordinators want to do is they want to get in the head of the offensive coordinator and get them off balance. Well, John has flipped it on them. He's now in the head of Vic Fangio because he doesn't know what's coming. I can run, I can pass, I can hit you with Darren Waller, I'll hit you with Tyrell Williams, then I'll bring back and just slam Josh Jacobs down your throat again. Vic Fangio's sitting over there right now looking at his play call sheet going, what do I call? Because I don't know what they're going to throw at me next.
I think he knows what to call. It's just not working. I mean, he stopped the Rams offense last year. Adam scored 6 points. I just think they're getting blown off the ball.
Running right into the pressure from Jacobs. That's Josh Jacobs' 20th carry of the night.
This is exactly what happened to the Raiders defense a year ago. They got run all over. They got more yards run on them than any team in the league, and they couldn't rush the passer. That's exactly what's happening to the Broncos tonight. They can't stop Josh Jacobs, so there is no passer.
Yep, just flip the script on them. The things that they struggled with, it's not fun, is it?
It's fun if you're playing Derek Carr.
Yeah, I can tell you this. If you're pass rushers, this is exactly what you don't want. I don't want to always be in first and second down.
3rd and 4. Broncos made a big play from anybody, but they'll take one from Von Miller. No sacks tonight for that feared Denver defense. It's Jacobs again. He'll be set flying. Mike Purcell in the middle there for Denver. 4th trip into the red zone for the Raiders tonight. Previous 3 have all resulted in touchdowns as they trot the field goal unit out this time. Denver 3 trips into the red zone, all 3 field goals, and that is your football game.
Boy, I was surprised there. I didn't get a little bit of play action pass from John Gruden. A 3rd down situation, you know they're going to sell out for the run. You want to put a stamp on the game. You know, a field goal still lets the Broncos hang around with 2 scores.
Here's Daniel Carlson. Hit his final 15 field goal attempts from a season ago. On the way from 29. No problem there. 4:38 to go in the 4th. Raiders up at home. ESPN's Monday Night Football, brought to you by Goodyear. Let your inner drive out. Goodyear, more driven. That is Allegiant Stadium, the future home of the Raiders, located just west of the Las Vegas Strip. $1.8 billion dome stadium is on track, we are told, to be ready for the Raiders' arrival in 2020.
Are they recreating the black hole there too? Did you get that on the?
You would have to think, right? The black hole has to travel.
I don't know if the current residents of the black hole are going to be able to travel to Las Vegas. You think they'll go?
I think the Raider faithful absolutely will. But last year at the end, the Raiders didn't know what was going on, where they were going to play at home. Derek Carr in the final game, they took sort of a victory lap into the black hole, right, slapping hands, hugging babies.
Wow, this is such a unique place. As a Broncos player for 6 years, I love the black hole. There were so many characters there, and you go down there and you look at all this. What are these guys' names?
That's a great question.
You know, you should know. You played.
They're nameless. I just know this. They're passionate, and they're loving the way their team is performing tonight.
See how the Broncos can answer now. Zipped across to Cortland Sutton. There is a flag down as Sutton stumbles across the 50. The Raiders might have jumped offside.
Offside. Defense, number 99. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
25-yard play that will stand.
See that offsides. This has been the best offense for Joe Flacco in Denver in this game is Cortland Sutton on that inside slant in the middle of the field.
Sutton's over 100 yards receiving for the game. Underneath to Phillip Lindsay. And other than the deep shot to Emmanuel Sanders, it's really been all Cortland Sutton or nothing for explosive plays for Denver.
Yeah, it sure has. And a lot of them have come against zone coverage, and you're seeing a lot of that on this drive right here because they're just trying to keep the ball from being thrown over their head. But Joe Flacco's finding some holes and moving them down the field here pretty effectively.
2nd and 2. Flacco to Sanders, nearly picked, and instead it turns into a big gain for Emmanuel Sanders. The Broncos down to the 20. That's good for 21 more yards.
Now, if you're the Raiders defensively, you got to be careful here. You don't want to give up a quick score. They go down and punch this in and make this an 8-point game. You know, they might be able to kick off with 2 timeouts and still be in this ball game.
Underneath for Sutton. He is met immediately. Excellent coverage that time by that Raiders defense led by LaMarcus Joyner for just a gain of 3.
We haven't talked a whole lot about LaMarcus Joyner. He comes over for the Rams in free agency. They paid him a little bit of money.
Little bit.
That's a big-time acquisition. See that C on his chest? He's already become a captain. He is one of the best nickelbacks in all of football.
4 years, $42 million. Here's 2nd and 7. Flacco for the end zone. Overshot Emmanuel Sanders. Joyner was a key part of that Rams defense that went to the Super Bowl a year ago.
Now we mentioned Garyon Conley went out of this game, Lewis, and they've targeted Trayvon Mullen. They targeted him on that last play, but for a rookie, he has been up to the task.
Absolutely. Look, he's a good man-to-man coverage defender. That's where he's at home. That's where he's comfortable. Get above the line of scrimmage. Let him use his length and his frame and his speed, and let him challenge.
And the only thing Brandon McManus will be kicking from this point on will be extra points. 3rd and 7. 24-9 Raiders. 3 minutes to go. Flacco down inside the 5 to Cortland Sutton. He's swallowed up at the 2 by Darryl Worley. Gain of 15.
And again, that route in the middle of the field to Cortland Sutton, who took a huge shot.
Broncos go fast. Flacco trying to do the Tom Brady. And didn't get there. Flacco says, don't sell me short on the running, the mobility, even though I'm 6'6". He doesn't mind that part of the game.
Now you got to regroup and get this play called, get this ball in the end zone because the clock's ticking.
Quick toss, Sanders, touchdown, and there you go. This crowd goes silent. 2:15 left.
A smart play call here because even if you don't complete this, you stop the clock, number 1. Trayvon Mullen's been up to the task, Lewis, on down the field throws, but the savvy veteran and Emmanuel Sanders with a little push off. Yep. That's well done.
Yeah, that back shoulder, that's tough right there. I mean, Trayvon's on, and Joe puts it at the only place that really it needs to be put, and it's an easy 6.
all the way down the field in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Rather important extra point from Brandon McManus. No problem. We're back to a one-score game. 2:15 left here in the fourth, and Denver with still 2 timeouts remaining. You can help people affected by Hurricane Dorian by visiting redcross.org or text Dorian to 9099 to give $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Dorian Relief. We'd ask you to do just that. Do what you can.
That score there on that play was important, because if you don't complete that and you have to run another play and maybe you go down to the 2-minute warning for Denver, they would lose that natural timeout. Now, because of the fact they still have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, they really have 3 clock stoppages. They might think about kicking this ball off and playing defense.
Brandon McManus will kick it off.
Dwayne Harris had the 75-yard kick return the last time. See the Broncos shore up their kick coverage. And there won't be a return that time.
And that's the right call. I mean, that's Vic Fangio knowing the situation, knowing how to manage the clock. If they get a 3-and-out here, they could get the ball back with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left if they use that 2-minute and use their 2 timeouts.
Derek Carr has been red hot tonight. 21 of 25. I'll say it again for you. 21 of 25 for 249 yards for 1 score. And has not been intercepted nor sacked.
I don't know if that's the best performance on a Monday night. I remember Rich Gannon beat us on a Monday night. He was like 29 of 32 or something crazy.
There's some very accurate quarterbacks around the NFL this week 1. DeAndre Washington back to the line of scrimmage. The Broncos will spend 1 timeout, so 2:10 left on the clock. And that earlier timeout Denver had to use play a critical role here. See John Gruden there, and he had to hope that once Antonio Brown left town, he was done in the NFL. He had to hope, had to think he'd be toxic, and then Bill Belichick comes in, and the Raiders talked about how totally different it was from the Khalil Mack situation from a year ago, how different the locker room was. And so this kind of victory on opening day with a horrendous schedule, one of the worst schedules in NFL history, would really be significant for Oakland.
No question about that, but they've come out, they've done what they needed to do. The last thing they needed to do is to get a first down here, and this game is over.
Broncos can only stop the clock 1 more time.
They'll get this clock stoppage at the 2-minute warning, and then they'll have 1 more to call on 3rd down, and then they'll force a punt, and they'll have plenty of time to maybe tie this game up.
That's why you go out and get a guy like Joe Flacco. Don't go anywhere. 2-minute warning.
Booth, man.
Stay tuned for the Ram Trucks post-game report after we wrap up the game here in Oakland. Louis Riddick will join Scott Van Pelt. You better be ready. Van Pelt asks the hard questions. You know?
Yeah, I know he does. We talked about it beforehand.
He might be talking about Josh Jacobs.
The Raiders need to throw this football and get a first down. Keep it out of their defense's hands.
First down should end, and Tyrell Williams has the first down. And the look of satisfaction on the face of John Gruden.
Tyrell Williams has been basically putting his team on his back the whole night. Why not go back to him here in crunch time?
Watch Colton Miller. He comes out and gets the block on Yadam, and then he come upfield. This is a great play call, great design. They've targeted Yadam all day. This time a different look with bringing the tackle out. Great call by John Gruden. He knows he just took any question of his defense off the table, right? That's how you protect your team and you play complementary football.
Snap it with 1, take every second off. Again, it's Josh Jacobs. Jacobs is the first player with 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in his first NFL game since 2001, and LaDainian Tomlinson. That's an impressive note.
This is about as good as a game plan as you will see as far as a team, knowing they need to spread the ball around. They need to take advantage of all the types of weapons that they have on their football team and use them to their utmost. And John has done that tonight brilliantly, and he has totally nullified Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Haven't heard him all night.
Not a great start for John Elway. He had high hopes for this opener and Vic Fangio's debut as a head coach, and they didn't have enough offense, and they didn't have an answer for this galvanized Oakland Raider organization.
Broncos will take that last timeout with them back home. And for John Gruden, it's his 100th career regular season win, the 43rd NFL head coach with 100 victories. And this, after everything they have gone through, dating back to March with Antonio Brown, has to be extra satisfying for him and Mike Mayock.
No question about it. And look, there's no question he was disappointed over the fact that he couldn't make it work, and we've talked about that. He wanted him on the football team because Antonio Brown is a difference maker. He's a Hall of Fame type of talent. But the players in this football team, I got the sense, were saying this: look, we never really knew Antonio Brown. We never got a chance to get to know him because he wasn't here. He wasn't someone who we really started, putting a lot on and really starting to depend on. So we need to move forward because we got some pretty good football players on this team. And this showed it tonight. These guys were up to the challenge tonight. Now they got a brutal stretch coming as far as games on the road.
Final Monday Night Football game in Oakland is won by the Raiders, 24-16. Next Monday night, the Jets and the Browns. Stay tuned for the Rams Trucks post-game report on SportsCenter for a recap of tonight's game. For producers Tim Corrigan and Josh Hoffman, our director Mike Schwab, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, Diana Rossini, and our entire crew. I'm Steve Levy. Here's more of what's coming up with Scott Van Pelt.